promoting businesses and organizations to help them reach their full potential. Lighten the path to the success of your business. Enhancing the lives of our listeners by talking about things that matters most. Helping you to shine your light emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and physically. Spreading positive vibes. You've got it locked and you're listening to Light Vibrations, brought to you by Lyte Communications right here on CBN Radio 90.9 FM. And now your host and our director, Natasha Letson.
Hello, you've got it locked and you're listening to Light Vibrations here, chilling with me, Tasha T, aka Roxy. And in our studios today, we have some of the BVI's finest athletes here as we continue our push to promote physical literacy locally. Here with us right now, we have our famous Eldred Henry. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Now, tell us a bit about your athletics resume.
I started off in, I think, late 2012. Made my first career with the team in 2013. First and only one because of my age. Ended up with 2 bronze medals, one in the shot, one in the discus. After that, got opportunity to go off to school and have a few NCAA records under my belt now. Recently, indoor and outdoor shot put title and the national record for the Division II. CAC bronze medalist, NACAC under 23 bronze in both discus and shot put, 2016 Olympian, World Championship qualifier, soon to be 2-time Olympian next year, God's spread life. Just a little bit.
Awesome. Well, what a resume. Wow. So, we're here right now locally trying to push this whole building physical literacy because we want to encourage, our youth from infants, from toddlers, preschoolers, and all the way up to, your rank to basically engage in capacity building for physical literacy. Now, as you look back on your childhood, tell us a little bit about it in terms of, how active or, not active you were, and did you think that contributed to you becoming an athlete?
Yeah, growing up, moms didn't let me stay inside and play. She always encouraged me to go outside and run around and play with the other kids in the neighborhood. I had a pretty active childhood. I started off, I used to run track at an early age, but then after a while I got too big for that, so I put that off. I tried volleyball, I tried baseball, and in a sense, I kind of gave up on sports after a while, but then got back into throwing and stuff. The first time I ever tried it, and I fell in love with it. But we was pretty active as kids. We always climbing trees, stoning mangoes. So I think little stuff like that helped to contribute to me being able to do what I'm doing now today.
Mm-hmm. And awesome. And I think this is a message for the children that they need to hear, because I know I have some teenagers right now, and every time I turn around it's Fortnite. They're tall, and I'm trying to encourage them to play sport and follow in my footsteps, but they're not having it. And I'm saying, what can you do to encourage the younger generation that just want to sit there and just do nothing?
Well, the younger generation these days, it's all about electronics and communication now these days. So it's as parents, we'll have to find ways to go around and entice the child to actually want to go outside and do stuff. Whether it's you tell them, well, okay, then you're going to have an hour playtime on the video games, but you have to be outside doing physical activities for 2 hours, something like that. Or you take them to the beach, you challenge them for a race, you take them swimming. You try to make the physical activity as fun as possible, because the whole thing is you want them to be interested in it and not to lose interest.
Definitely. Having, all those, accolades under your belt, and, how did you get there? What type of work ethic that you needed to have to get to where you're at right now? And what can you say to basically, bring the other set of children who are trying to follow in your footsteps, get them mentally prepared for what's ahead of them?
Well, what it was for me, I was curious and I was hungry. My curiosity got the best of me because when I started, I was like, okay, then, well, I'm only starting off a year of experience, and I meet up with people that they're doing a lot longer than me, and then I'm comparing what I'm doing with what they're doing, taking into consideration that they're a lot more experienced than me, and then I'll say to myself, well, what's going to happen if I keep it up, and when I have their experience under my belt, like, it's scary thinking about what I'll actually be able to do because I'm just getting started. I'm only 25. So my curiosity got the best of me, and then my willingness to want to be the best at what I do is what is pushing me to continue going. Like I want to break the world record in my event, and even though when I break the world record, I'm not gonna stop because at the same time there are like 4 other guys that's probably right behind me that's capable of breaking the world record too. So then you gotta always stay on top of your game and stay humble while doing that too. Like being humble is one of the major keys in sports these days, because then you win 1-2 titles here and there and you start feeling yourself, and before you know it starts to affect your performance.
Definitely. And any advice for upcoming track athletes, people who want to throw the disc or shot put?
All you have to do is come out and try. Like I never thought that if you had asked me about 5 years ago that I would have been here, which probably I would have flat out told you that you're lying. Like I laughed at you, but I put my pride and ego aside and I came out. I worked hard. I tried, and now I'm at where I'm at today.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the program today, and with your final thoughts, tell our listening audience why they should get on board with physical literacy.
It's gonna help you live a lot longer, healthier life. Like you don't want to be in your 30s suffering from back pain and all kind of stuff, and then you have to spend all kind of extra money to go to the doctors. Like, just try to take little steps and have a active life, so then you could live a longer life, so you could be there to see your kids and possibly grandkids grow up, and you could have them follow your footsteps too.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Joining us in our studios right now are more of our elite athletes. We have Ms. Chantel Malone, Kyron McMaster, and Ashley Kelly. Welcome, guys, to this program. You know we're here talking about physical literacy and promoting such. So I want to start with you, Ashley. Give us a little bit about your physical resume.
So my name is Ashley Kelly. I'm 2016 Olympian, 2017 World Championships semi-finalist. And I actually do think it's very, very important for especially young girls to get involved in sports. It definitely helps with our confidence. We learn a little bit of self-worth because we've started believing, we start goal setting, and then when we start seeing those goals being accomplished, we have a sense of self-worth and know that we can do certain things. So it's very important for, especially from my standpoint, that females get very involved in sports at a young age.
Mm-hmm. So share with us a bit about at what point did you become interested in sports, and basically what was the impetus behind of you becoming an athlete?
Well, track and field specifically. Well, I first started off in softball and those type of things, and that was mainly because I was trying to make friends. Mm-hmm. My mom, I moved here from New York, so coming here in a new environment, the only friends I had was my cousins, even though I had a big family. So starting with sports, and I was also acting out a lot as well. So my grandmother decided to put me into sports so that I can channel my energy into something else, and that's when I started softball. But track and field specifically, I started in high school, and it was just off a dare. Mm-hmm. Like one of my friends, Bianca, she was the captain of the House 3 team, and she was just like, I bet you can't do the 100. And then I just went in the 100, ended up winning the 100 that year, and then I started training, and the rest was history. So that's really just how I started.
Well, awesome. And one of the things that basically building the capacity for physical literacy speaks about is actually the behavior and channeling, all that energy. So I'm glad you actually brought that up, because that is one of the things that we're pushing right now to basically give children an outlet to be able to be their best selves. Mm-hmm. So in terms of aspiring athletes and, basically giving a push to the parents to assist with building the physical capacity of their children, what would you say?
I think it's important for the parents to be involved, be very supportive of what their child or children are interested in. It's a really good way to channel their energy if you see that your child is acting out or anything. Sports is a good way to channel that energy. You get to hit something, You get to interact with other people, and sometimes that social interactions are very important just for development. So being able to be on a team, knowing that everything is not all about you. You also have to work with a team and delegate other responsibilities. All of those are very important characteristics that you learn throughout sports.
Awesome. And Ms. Chantel Malone, congratulations on your goal. I know that yesterday we had a huge celebration for you coming back off of that gold medal from Peru. How does it feel right now?
I feel great. I mean, it's good to be back home and be able to celebrate with the country. It's always good to have that support and just see the encouragement.
Now, as one of our elite athletes, give us your resume in terms of your athletics resume and basically the impetus behind of you two becoming an athlete.
I started with athletics since I was in primary school, really. At first I wanted to do cheerleading and my dad was like, nope. So I started running track with Miss Potter at the time at Albert Scotliff, and then went into the BVI High School under Mr. Potter and Miss Bernard in the top-notch track club. And then I went to the University of Texas and just continued my career after that as a professional athlete. For me, track has always been an outlet, and back in the day, I wasn't solely just focused on track. I used to do basketball just for fun, like summer camps and stuff. We used to have that back in the day. Volleyball. It's just like a lot of activities that my parents used to put me into, occupy my time after school and just get my mind, away from bad stuff, companies and stuff like that.
Definitely. And do you think physical literacy is important? And, is there any benefit to becoming physically literate at a young age?
Oh, I definitely believe that it's important for us to involve the kids and get back to the basics of just introducing physical literacy into the schools and stuff like that. I think we shied away from it. Back in the day when we were going to school, we would have like an actual period where we come out to the track and do different activities and stuff like that. And the athletes, the students would actually really want to participate in it. I feel like now we kind of got away from that. And you could kind of see it in the community. Some of the young ones are just like doing nothing, right, or just getting into stuff that they shouldn't be getting into. I think the coaches now, especially on the track, I don't really know about the other sports, but the coaches have definitely done a great job at gathering the athletes and making sure that they focus and actually have a plan moving forward. And I think that's something that's very important. Also, I think with the younger kids, it's important to have that physical education in the schools because it helps with the health issues and stuff like that. We see a lot of kids that getting overweight at a young age, and that shouldn't be. If you simply just educate them about the importance of physical education or eating and all that stuff, it could help along the way.
Definitely. And in terms of your collegiate experience, how was track life for you here in the Virgin Islands when you took it to the collegiate level?
Oh, we talked about that earlier today at the clinic, but honestly, for me, before I went to college, I didn't do much weight training. I didn't do all the other stuff. I was always pretty focused and determined to succeed and dedicated. But in terms of knowing the little things that could actually make me better, I wasn't as in tune to that as I did when I got to college. I think now the kids that's coming up, they have a very good, foundation. So the coaches now, they are implementing the weight rooms and stuff like that we didn't really embrace at the time. So I think they have a better chance at succeeding even more.
Wonderful. And last but definitely not least, what is Mr. McMaster? And you brought home our first goal here in the BVI. Mr. McMaster, tell us a little bit about your resume.
I started track at a very young age, but I think my highlights started in 2015 when I made the finals at Pan Am Juniors, but I got disqualified in the finals for hitting a hurdle. Wow, a history for hitting hurdles, man. 2016, I grabbed the bronze medal at the World Junior Games in can't pronounce it. Something. I honestly Big Gazi or something. So I can't pronounce it.
Bilgash.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in 2017, that's when I went to the World Championship I was ranked the number one hurdler in the world at the time. Hit the hard. No, I stepped on the line. I got disqualified in the heats. I have a history for those stuff. Pretty much that sucks. But yeah. And then in 2017, I also won the Diamond League trophy. So that's pretty good. That was a nice bounce back. And then in 2018, I nabbed 3 gold medals as well, with 2 international records in the CAC and the NACAC. And then 2019, ranked 3rd in the world, but I got 4th at the World Championship. I went to the final, so that's pretty good. That's basically my resume leading up to who I am now.
Mm-hmm. And what role has, being an athlete, how has it benefited your life?
It's benefited my life positively and negatively. I lost a lot of friends along the way because I realized that certain people wasn't supposed to be around me in this era because of stuff that I was influenced by. And positively, I would say the doors they opened for me, and the doors they opened for the BVI as well. So I was pretty proud about that. Know that you see someone like me make it in such a large scale from the BVI, that at least them could look and say like, yo, Karen could do it, because Karen used to be training right here next to me. Karen used to be cracking jokes with me. Karen used to buy a drink for me. We play dominoes together. Like, so if he could do it, I could do it as well, because he's nobody different from me. The only difference is probably we had was the track club we was training with at the moment. So it's a motivation for them and a motivation for me, knowing that where I came from and knowing who I up against. That's just pure motivation for me. I like when I'm in a competitive field and I'm the only one there that's been underrated in terms of like their country already nabbed like 500 medals, 200 medals or so, but little old BVI, we barely have 1 or 2 medals in that event. So even being at that event and being ranked in the top 5 of the world just makes a lot of noise for me in the stadium. And I let that speak for myself. I don't really speak a lot in terms of like my accomplishments, so I just let my action speaks for me.
Mm-hmm. And we know being an athlete is no easy thing. People see the gold, people see the glory that you're involved in right now, because you've reached a certain level in your you've reached a certain level in your athletics career. But talk a bit about some of the work and some of what it takes to build an elite athlete.
It takes a good support system around you. Not a big support system, a small support system where they just want the best for you, win, lose, or draw. Even if you come last in a race, they find the words to tell you, like, my friends already know me, like, I come last in a race, I don't want hair, or you could have, or whatever. Like, I don't dwell on those, just move on from that. Just say, yeah, okay, good job, or we move on from that, you feel me? People don't see the hard work we put in, the days we lying down in the sun, the days we train in the sun every 6 days a week. We laying down in the track, we putting up our true stress, ice bathing, making sure we don't tear a ligament. We go through the trenches in track and field. It's a very hard sport, you feel me? You have therapy. I don't have access to therapy right now. You have different stuff that impacts an athlete mentally and physically. If an athlete isn't mentally strong, just by someone in their event running a hellacious time, a time that's like far-fetched, that could throw an athlete out of the game when he see that competitor next to the line. You feel me?
Awesome. And ladies, Chantal and Ashley, I want y'all to talk about some of the exposure. You've been to these different countries and competing internationally. Tell us a little bit about what that is like, and how that has helped to build you as well as a person.
I think one of the perks of being an elite athlete is the opportunity to travel the world. Because normally, if you ain't rich, you can't travel over there, on your own merit. So I think that's one of the perks of being an elite athlete, and just being there and being able to experience different cultures. I think in the past, I kind of didn't embrace that, just because you go to a meet and you want to be solely focused on competing, and you sometimes lose the opportunity to embrace the different or the blessings that comes with being an athlete. But recently I have took it upon myself to try to experience more of the different countries that I go to, and it's always a good experience just to see how people interact or they treat the athletes, and just stuff like that is just really a blessing for us.
And Ashley, in terms of the comparison to the facilities and the focus and all the resources that are put into athletes across the world, how do you think we fare here in the BVI? And how can we be better?
Well, from coming up, I know that when I was just started running, we had like a grass track, and then we also used the festival ground, which is the gravel. So I think the new and upcoming athletes are definitely blessed with the rubberized track. We have access to weight rooms, and we have a plethora of knowledgeable coaches that can, they are on the same level as many of these U.S. coaches or anything like that. But even from a small country, I think the BVI OC does a really good job of trying to support their elite athletes. I know they support their programs very well with the youth and the BVI AA, but there's still always more that can be done. If we can involve maybe the government, at least with financial support, then we'll be, not better, but it put us in a better opportunity to compete on the levels that we are, and then on an even playing field. Just with access to facilities, access to physio, just having that opportunity to have that kind of access is really what will kind of like help us be better as a country.
Nice. And now moving forward in terms of Kyron, in terms of physical literacy and us trying to be on this quest to promote it, we want to develop athletes across the board. I know one thing about being a former athlete myself is the early specialization, and from what I've heard from you guys, you started playing a variety of sports. How important is that to not specialize too early, and also what are your thoughts about building physical literacy locally?
I think it's very important, especially in the BVA. I think the BVA has a lot of talents, a lot of hidden talents that needs to shine a light on, and that could only really start from the school system. Because I think when people think about sports in the BVA, they only think about track and field, because track and field is the only sport that really shining, not to take a light away from baseball or whatever sport else out there. Once the BVA and the government and the help of the BVA OC gets a grasp on it, I think it will be something great, and that lowers the risk of us having a high rate of obesity and incapable children of doing sports. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to minimize the people on the blocks or people that's malicious and just doing nothing on a Friday night when they could be at a game watching their friends compete in a basketball tournament or in a cricket tournament, volleyball tournament. Once we dip into those stuff, I think that would be a major help in the BVA. And just how St. Croix could have someone in the NBA, we could have someone in the NBA as well. I know at one point the BVA never thought they would have had 4 professional athletes like myself, Chantel, Ashley, Eldred, competing at the World Championship stage, going to the Olympics. We're making an impact, and it's time that other sports develop that way to make an impact. And at the end of the day, it starts with a foundation with funding, but if we don't do something from the early stages rather than just going to a private individual club, it starts from the classroom, to be honest.
Wonderful. And in terms of giving back, I know you guys are here this weekend, and you ran some clinics. Speak about that and the importance of helping to build tomorrow's athletes.
I think it's what we did today was actually very good. I hope that the turnout would have been a little more, but as we move forward in the future, hopefully more people will come and take part in the activities. But for the people that did come out, you could see that they were excited about learning from athletes that has been on the stage that they want to be at. And I think that's important to have that kind of role model for them to look up to. So we just have to continue being the role models that they can see themselves in. We are no different than them. We are the same, actually. We go through some of the same struggles. So for us to succeed is a good thing for them to see. And we, as the elite athletes, have to do a better job at just being more interactive with them, because sometimes we're off country and we don't really have the opportunities to really speak to them as often as we would like to. But I just need them to know that we're always here if they need us. And no dream is too big to dream. So if we could do it, they can do it, and that's all that matters.
I think it's a great experience. I remember when I was a younger athlete, Taisha had something similar like this where she brought Kirani James, and that is actually what got me in tune with track and field. I still have his spikes home that he signed for me. I was looking at that today. I was like, a couple years ago, I was the one sitting down on the bench. Now I was the one talking to them. That's crazy how life changed so drastically. But if it, like I was talking to some of the other athletes today, if this is something that we could put on yearly, I know as it gradually goes on, we could make it better. Like, say for instance, if this was mentioned early up in the year, we could have gotten Chantel, Ashley, I myself could have got in contact with other people, hopefully to make it a better outcome, where we could have invited someone that has reached a level that none of us has reached, where it would tap into different sports. Now, hopefully this could reach one thing that is just not track and field, where it could be a broad, the whole sporting complex around the whole BVI. So hopefully, if it's this something that the BVI and the Olympic Committee wants to join, where they have a yearly clinic with athletes that they want to encourage the children, I think that would be very good. And I'm personally on board for it, because they are going to be the next generation to break my record, Chantel record, Ashley records. So there's nothing in motivating them and giving them a little heads up as to what we encountered and how you could avoid the obstacles we encountered along the way.
Definitely.
So hosting today's clinic, I think, was very important. Some of the feedback that I got today was one of the athletes that I was working with came up and said that, I really didn't know you guys were so nice, and that you guys really talk to us, you guys have fun, and etc. And I think it was really important to know that the athletes are that the athletes can reach out and touch us, and then we are personal. We want to help you guys, because as Karen touched on, Taisha was one of the first people that we were able to reach out and touch, and know that being successful on a very, very big level was feasible. When I came up, I was watching Marion Jones and Allison Felix. I don't know those girls, right? When I saw Taisha, win the bronze medal on the at World Indoors, I could reach out and touch her. I knew her. She walked in some of my similar footsteps. So that part was very important, just to know that the athletes were able to just see their own superstars here and know that we are here for you guys, and you guys can always come out and touch us, and just not really literally touch us, but just talk to us, and we're here, and we're not going to be standoffish or anything like that. So that was the most important thing that I received today.
Well, awesome. I want to once again thank you guys for coming on the program today to share a bit about, the makeup and what it takes to be an elite athlete, and just basically to helping to promote the message of building physical literacy locally. Leave me with some final thoughts, actually a final push. What would you say to encourage people to jump on this physical literacy bandwagon?
I would say, if you're not necessarily into athletics, just do it because it's good for your health. I think that's a big movement that's happening right now, even just worldwide. Everyone is on the health push. So even if you don't want to be an athlete or you don't want to do all that stuff, walking, eating right, just some kind of physical activity would be good for your health. And I think that as parents, like we said earlier, it's important to get your children into some kind of activity just to keep their mind going and just open up their horizons for different things in the future.
Awesome.
I mean, at the end of the day, this program that we're trying to instill, to make better, to upgrade, is for the help of them and their life. Like, we're trying to help them, and it only starts with them. We could only do so much, but it starts actually with them. So I hope they take what we do and the words of encouragement that we give them, that they take it into consideration. And even if they just start out by walking in PE and physical literacy, or by jogging, or they just start with one step, just put one foot in front of the other, and then the next foot in front of the other foot, and then the next foot in front of the other foot. Burn some calories, and then you can got a hot girl summer body, and then that hot boy summer body, like how did they say, you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't even know how to follow up after that, because I just hit every nail just perfectly. But also, just other than just the physical literacy, just get involved with others. support what we already have, make sure that we continuously open opportunities for the younger generation to continue to live in a positive light, and just minimize all the stress, all the animosity, and then just live better for each other.
Well, awesome. Once again, guys, thank you for coming on the program. You have it locked and you've been listening to Lyte Vibrations here, chilling with me, Tasha T, aka Roxy, as we had our elite athletes on center stage. So we had with us on the program today Mr. Eldred Henry, Miss Chantel Malone, Mr. Kyron McMaster, and Miss Ashley Kelly. I want to thank all of you guys for coming on and basically helping us to push this physical literacy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Lyte Vibration, and don't forget to tune in this time next week as we continue to bring you life-changing information. Until next time, shine your light.